Willkommen zurück hier auf der IAA 2024 bei Webfleet. Wir sind noch nicht ganz am Ende, denn ich habe jetzt noch einen ganz besonderen Gast bei mir, Damian Penney, Vice President EMEA von Lytx. And I say a very warm welcome to Damian. It's great to have you back. You've been here 2 years ago. You've been here at the IAA for quite a while now. You had a look around. What do you think about it? How is it this year?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me back. It's great to be here again. And this is a busy show. This is a huge show. Everybody that matters are here. So it's great walking around, seeing new technology, new vehicles, also seeing Bridgestone on 2 different places around the show as well. So it's a good present for you, and we're really pleased to be a partner of yours here today.
Just to explain it quickly, Lytx provides technology for Webfleet video, our video telematics, which we offer to everyone who's in need of it, and I think everyone is. And 2 years ago, we did an interview similar to this, and we introduced Webfleet video, and we talked about the pros and not so much the cons, but you showed us what are the benefits of video telematics, and back then the UK was picking up quite fast, and obviously the US was going through the roof, but on the European market, you just told me Germany is now in the lead, and it was a bit surprising for me. So when it comes to dashcam and video telematics, Germany is the lead market now.
Well, I think it's a surprise for a lot of people. I've spent a lot of time in the last day and a half just telling people that Germany is now accelerating the adoption of video telematics. So 2 years ago, very, very early. But now Germany is the leading adopter of video telematics in mainland Europe, and they're only behind the UK. But the UK has had probably a few years a head start. So they are now seeing rapid growth. Since we last spoke, they've tripled the amount of adoption of our technology. But also, when you just walk around the streets or get on a bus, you see video now everywhere, sitting in a taxi, in a bus, on the corner of a street, maybe CCTV. Now, our technology is not CCTV.
Right.
But I think the mindset of both the public and the government has changed. We've got things like EU GSR coming up in 2026, which is all about putting technology inside the vehicle to protect the drivers. So that's changed. I think the technology itself has really come on in the last couple of years. I think when we last spoke, it was all about the company and the fleet manager, and they were using that to see what was happening out in the field. The technology and the use of AI now has allowed for the technology to do 180 degrees, and it becomes now a tool for the driver. They have the power to decide what they do now when risk is happening in and around the vehicle. And that's a massive change, and that helps the adoption of this type of technology. And I think there's a third thing that's even more important is about GDPR. And again, that's another topic that I talk about all the time when I'm out there. GDPR, it's not legal. Well, I think in the last 2 years, people have started to understand what it can do and what it can't do, what is important, what is not important, how to manage the privacy of the data, but also how to ensure that the driver is safe and gets home safe every night.
And that's the goal, that the driver is safe, and we don't have enough drivers, so more than a reason to ensure that their risk is reduced. And when we talked about video telematics last time, it was like 3 parts of it, right? It was, on the one hand, see not what's happening, but what happened. It's just when something happened, you've got proof what really was. The second thing was, hey, use that videos to educate your drivers, right? So using material, what happened, to make them better. But the third step, and I think that's the difference then to any dash cam as the video telematics, is that within the cabin, you get feedback, and the driver is in charge, and the driver reduces the risk using this tool. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's totally right. Now, there is still a place for reactive technology. So something's happened, we want to know what happens. And insurance companies, for example, they want to see what has happened out there to minimize the increase in costs. So quickly, let me see what's happened. But where the real money is, where the real technology is going, is now in the vehicle, on the edge, in the hand of the driver, so they can do something about it in real time. So there's this concept, which I'll probably come back to, but this is concept of time to action. So using AI and using the technology that you have now embedded in your solution, it allows you to give the driver the best chance of reacting, taking action to the risk that they're finding around them. And that is the big change. And if I was a driver, then you want as many tools as possible to make sure that you're safe and you get home. And really, companies now are adopting this because it's also part of their corporate responsibility. I have to look after my employees. What is the best way to do it? Let's give them tools to keep them safe. So yeah, you're right. Each stage is important, but now, 2 years later, that proactive and maybe predictive technology using AI to manage lots of data is a reality in the cab.
When we're talking about reducing the risk while driving, do you have a few examples? What kind of risk is detected and the driver can react to?
So we know that there's a lot of distraction on the road today. And it's very easy for a driver to become distracted by other users on the road, or get distracted even by a notification that may appear on their phone. Now, we don't want, and I'm sure most drivers don't pick up their phone, but if they got distracted by it, the technology allows them to say, watch out, get your eyes back on the road. It doesn't necessarily send a video to their manager. It just says, keep focused on the road. So that's important. That's one of the things that happens. But equally, we get fatigue on the road. And sometimes, somebody said to me the other day that fatigue is not a choice.
Right.
It's not a choice. It's a choice to smoke. I'm going to pick up a cigarette and I'm going to smoke. It's a choice to pick up my phone. But fatigue is not a choice. So we have to have technology that is able to identify fatigue as it happens. For example, yawning, as an obvious sign of perhaps you're getting tired. That technology is available now. So it can warn you that actually I think you're getting tired in the vehicle today. So it's really important to look at all of this new technology coming out, make sure that it's applicable to the driver, and they will use it. And that's so different to what it was in the past.
Did that change? When we talk back, our drivers were very reluctant, and they were like, oh, I don't really want the camera when I'm working all the time. Do you find when implementing the solutions, showing them videos, showing them how it works for them, that there's a change of mind when they're using it?
Yeah, no, so I think it's all about education. So we don't talk about video, you talk about safety. You talk about improving the safety on the road and using tools such as video telematics to do that. I think when drivers actually see that the video is not being used to penalise them, it's being used to protect them, that is really a big change.
Right?
It's a massive change. Now, we don't want to wait for an accident to happen on the road, a collision to happen.
We don't want an accident.
We don't want an accident. Do you know what? We don't even want a video. We don't want to see anything. We want our technology to do nothing all day, because if that's the case, then everybody is safe. And that's really what our goal is.
And just picking up what you said earlier, risk is all around us. We look around here at the IAA and there's technology all around us. You might think that the risk should be down over the years. Has that happened?
Well, it does. The risk comes down. There's no doubt. From the 25 years we've been doing this, we see every case, nearly every case, I don't say every case, nearly every case, the risk is reduced. And now we would say that, wouldn't we? But a recent report was produced by an insurance company. They ran our technology in one of their worst performing fleets for a whole year. They were losing money. I think it was 113%. They were losing money. And they reduced that down to, I think, 30% of, and what that meant is that suddenly, not only were they making money, but they were able to apply cheaper costs for insurance to that fleet. And we've got now a second case study of exactly the same thing happening. So it's not our data. This is an insurance company that really, value data, and they're showing that this technology works. And it works because not because the fleet manager is hitting the driver with a stick. It works because the driver now is in control of their own destiny, and that is the critical point.
So basically putting the driver back in the driver's seat makes the change when using the tools.
Yeah, I mean, our focus is all about the driver because the driver is the most important technology in the vehicle. And I think I said that last time when I spoke to you, and we still do that because it's critical for us to design things that the driver will use. If they don't use them, it's not going to improve their safety. So the driver is critical. You start from there and you build technology around that.
Coming back to that, to the driver, and we just mentioned it already, data privacy is a huge topic. We're right now in Germany, and when it comes to innovation, we don't have a reputation of, what do you call it, jumping the horse? Is it?
Yeah, I get it.
Jumping the gun, I think it is.
Well, both.
Be fast because we don't think. Maybe we overthink. So about data privacy is a big thing. GDPR is a big thing. How can you address that? Yeah,
I think you're being hard on yourself. I think you're being hard on the German nation because our facts show that actually Germany is leading the pack. It's leading the pack when it comes to adoption of this technology. But the reason it is because there are now clear guidelines on what needs to happen. So once it's clear, once you know that you only can use this technology for valid reasons such as safety, if you only can hold a certain amount of data, if you make sure your driver is aware of what you're doing, if you hold it in a secure location in Frankfurt, for example, where our data center is held, then those are all ticks, and that is really, really important. So now those things are in place. That means now that companies such as Bridgestone and their customers are adopting this technology really fast because we've overcome the major hurdles. Now, I'm not going to say that drivers aren't going to sit there with their arms crossed saying, you're going to be watching me like Big Brother. But as I said earlier on, this is not like CCTV. It only captures video when something bad happens. And that's the key point here. It's completely different to maybe some of the other technologies you see when you walk around the streets today.
And then it works for you, right? If it doesn't work for you, you're not have to give it away. You don't have to show it. Only if it benefits you, you give away the video to your insurance or to the police.
Exactly.
Right?
So, I mean, there are certain things. So I know a financial director in a company will say, I want this because I want to be able to give it to my insurance company to reduce my costs. A fleet manager may say, I want this because it's going to improve my productivity. But more and more now, we're seeing companies and drivers saying, I want this because it keeps me safer. And it's an investment in me. So it's not just, I don't have just training investment. I have this technology that coaches me every day in the moment and helps me be safer on the road. And that's really critical. And that's why Germany is adopting this. And that's why they're jumping on board, because they've got not the best record from safety. They've got high insurance costs. But I think now they've got these rules out of the way, I think they are leaning forward to be early adopters in this technology in Europe. And the facts are, we're seeing the numbers coming through.
Very, very interesting. The IAA is always about innovation, and obviously the last question will be, what is to come? What will we see? What will be the next steps with video telematics? Where we will go from here?
Well, if you're talking feature function, and I know a lot of people like to talk about all the nice glitzy things you can do, well, with AI, it's going to be, and there's so many things I probably don't even know about yet that are going to appear in the next couple of years. Next time we talk, 2 years' time, there'll be a lot more feature functions. But the ability to identify, for example, stop signs or red lights, or the ability to warn when there's other distractions happening in the cab, or pedestrian identification, all of those things are starting to come into the market now, and they will become standard functionality very, very soon. So that's important. But I think one of the big things which I know a lot of legal people will shudder about is the sharing of data. And when it comes to safety, everybody should share their data. There is no reason why data should not be shared between fleets around the world, if not just around Europe. Because if everybody's safer on the road, then your own fleet is safe.
True.
So what can you share? And I know there are companies, there are companies here today that are starting to talk about how can I share my data with you even though you're a competitor of mine. So for example, I went on stage recently with 2 global bus companies.
Right.
And they talked about how they would share data when it comes to safety. Now, they compete when it comes to passengers.
Right.
But from safety, nobody wants to have a collision. So that's a really big one. And the final thing is the ability to integrate. And there are so many fleets out there that have lots of technology. Nobody wants to get rid of all their technology and put a new load of technology in. So what we've been focusing on is the ability to have a very much open system so that a Bridgestone customer, a Webfleet customer, can say, oh yeah, I would like to have video telematics now, and all they have to do is go click, and it happens. They don't need to bring in a new vendor, they don't need to ask anybody else to come along, and that cost of change is significant.
No.
When you've got lots of other things, lots of other priorities, such as EV and sustainability, etc., well, the last thing you want to do is have a massive cost of change, of ripping out a system and putting a new system in. Our technology, coupled with your technology, is allows the customer literally to click a switch and you get it. And that's a big benefit, I think.
So in the future we see it will be even easier to use and even more reducing the risk, bringing more safety to the drivers. Yeah. And in the end, and I think that's the key sentence, making sure the driver gets home safe.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. There is no excuse now for not adopting this technology. There is plenty of rules in place about privacy now. So let's protect the driver's privacy, sure. But the most important thing is the safety of your driver. Because once you get the safe driver, then there's other things that they impact upon. Sustainability, maintenance, all of those sort of things. The driver is key to all of those things. Keep them safe, and you will benefit from everything else that we've talked about.
That's brilliant to hear from you. I will say now, come home safe. I say thank you that you've been here. Be a wonderful interview again. Und auch an Sie darf ich nochmal meine Worte richten und sagen, kommen Sie gut nach Hause. Sie sind wahrscheinlich schon hinterm Bildschirm, aber das war unsere Übertragung hier von der IAA, vom Webfleet-Stand. Ich freue mich, dass Sie mit dabei waren und denken Sie dran, Mobility Talks gibt's immer. Einmal im Monat, am letzten Donnerstag sind wir mit den verschiedenen Themen wieder für Sie da und ich freue mich, wenn Sie beim nächsten Mal sich auch wieder reinklicken. Vielen Dank, dass Sie heute mit dabei waren, hier von der IAA. Kommen Sie gut nach Hause oder legen Sie sich wieder hin.